Thank you all very much for joining me today. My name is Julia Coakley. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Managing General Agents Association. I've been with the association for 5 years. I've had a career in the insurance industry that started at an insurance broker for a number of years, moved over to underwriting, then moved over to work in the counter fraud arena of insurance, and then joined the MGAA, as I say, 5 years ago. So as dull as it sounds, because I'm repetitive, I probably know a little about a lot rather than a lot about anything. But one thing I do know is that I'm very passionate about MGAs and the community that we're in. So I very much appreciate you joining me today. I'm going to be covering the member benefits of being a member of the MGAA, and specifically focused on MGA members. If you've joined and you're actually sitting within our supplier tier of membership, or indeed our market practitioner tier of membership, we will be delivering a supplier membership benefits webinar on the 17th of February. So do feel free, if you think that's of better interest, to join us then. We will also be delivering a similar webinar to be confirmed date, but for our market practitioner members. So as I say, this one is specifically for MGA members, but hopefully you'll find it of interest. I'm going to be talking for about 20 minutes, and then we'll have a 10-minute period just for Q&As, which I would welcome. But as I say, we'll crack on with the member benefits for MGAs. First of all, I want to say that if you've been in membership of the Managing General Agent for a period of time, thank you so much for your support. It goes without saying that we wouldn't exist as an association if our output didn't meet your expectation, and then you subsequently continued to support that output. So as I say, if you've been a member for a while, and I say a while, a year or longer, then thank you very much. It is really appreciated. If you're new to the MGAA, then again, welcome. We're very, very glad to have you on board. I guess I'm biased, but I'm always very excited about what we deliver to members. We get fantastic feedback. It seems to be well received, and obviously for anybody's job, that's always very satisfying to know that you're doing the right thing for people. So again, for new members, thank you for that. So as I say, what I'm going to share is the membership benefits of being a member of the MGAA for MGAs particularly. So we've got 3 membership tiers. We have our market practitioner tier of membership, which is our predominantly capacity providers or brokers of capacity. So we've got over 70 market practitioner members. We also have a supply membership category. As the name might suggest, supply membership covers really any business that offers products and services that support MGAs in their day-to-day business. That could be HR services, training, actuarial support, digital platforms, loss adjusters, claims management, etc., etc. So our supply membership does cover all of those products and services that MGAs use, as I say, in the day-to-day business. The MGAA was formed in 2011. I suspect, and I don't know the exact history in terms of the inception, but it certainly was formed by a number of MGAs who realised that their voice alone wasn't quite achieving what they'd hoped, and there is power in the voice of the collective. So we were formed in 2011. We've actually grown considerably over those years, with a lot of amazing input from a number of people at various levels of knowledge and expertise. Our proposition currently sits on 3 pillars. Those 3 pillars are networking, they are knowledge and education, and they are regulatory and compliance. So we look to support in those 3 areas. We subsequently then support, when you break it down even further, into brand. So we support you on brand exposure, and then we support your staff in terms of their knowledge and education and professional development. So those 3 pillars feed into one or both of those areas: brand exposure or support of your staff, and some kind of meet in the middle and cover the 2. So I'll start with our networking opportunities. And what I'd actually like to say, and I will finish with saying as well, it's really imperative for you to get the most out of your membership, to make sure that you've got the maximum number of user accounts attached to your membership. So as many of your staff that can sign up for user accounts, and that's all of your staff, there's no restrictions, I really urge you to get them to sign up for their own user accounts, because that's how we can ensure that our communications have a wide reach, and therefore, again, it enables your business to get the most out of membership, whether it be for an individual, for instance, a compliance personnel, whether it be for a group, as in our next gen activities. Really, the more user accounts you have, the better informed your staff are going to be, the greater they're going to use membership benefits, and therefore the greater the return on investment for your membership and what you're paying for your membership fee. So our first pillar, networking. Now, we all use the word networking within the insurance sector, probably incessantly at various levels, at various times. But what we mean by networking is offering access to our active community for networking and business development to enhance and progress your own business. I think on its most fundamental level, networking can be really important when you go along to something. As a business, you want to know whether you're there or thereabouts in what you're doing. Better still, it's nice to know when you are kind of going above and beyond perhaps what your peers are doing. And actually, probably even more important, knowing what your peers are doing and perhaps you're not. So it's a great inspiration when you're networking to be talking to other MGAs around what they're doing, what they're prioritising, where their successes are, where their best practices are. So for that, in that respect alone, I don't think networking can ever really be underestimated. I think the area that we probably focus more on in networking is giving you the opportunity to build those connections. So with an MGA sitting at the core of what we do, those connections can be built with our market practitioner members, for that read capacity providers, but also for our supply members, in order for you to be aware of the enhanced technology, the best practices for all of those things that I mentioned earlier, be it HR, personnel, loss adjusting, claims management, etc., etc. So there really are opportunities, networking, to speak to our wider community. The way we deliver the networking opportunities, predominantly by our events. So hopefully you will all be aware of our annual conference. Again, I'm biased, but it's a great opportunity to get together with your peers, with market practitioners, with supply members. All of the events that we deliver are really with MGAs at the core, and that's particularly so for our annual conference. There are a number of panel discussions that talk about topics, areas that are trending within the insurance sector. We'll have a keynote speaker that will speak to, again, those topical matters that will be impacting you as a business and your future progression and development. We have an awards period at the end of our annual conference, a great way to give yourself the opportunity to highlight your business, your brand, as I spoke to earlier, to highlight the areas that you are excelling at in your business. For a bit of fun, we always have a celebrity or speaker of interest at the end. And then sandwiched between those two, we have, as I say, panel discussions. We have opportunities for you to speak to our supply members, speak to the regulator, capacity providers, and learn what we're doing with our next gen group. The other events we hold, and again, when you think about the audience and the brand exposure that we afford you, are our broker exchanges. So within our broker exchanges, we have 2 per year. One is a London event and one is a regional event. Both of those events, within your membership, you get the opportunity to exhibit, and we bring along those broker delegates. So it gives you the opportunity to take a table, again, as I say, complimentary within your membership, to bring along your pop-ups, your marketing assets, to speak to not only new brokers, but to invite your existing brokers along, just to reinforce and re-establish those relationships. But with the new brokers, it gives you the opportunity to make connections, to build relationships where there might be product opportunities, And again, just to create those connections that you may not use right now, but you certainly could be using in the future for product development and product distribution. Our other key event for networking is our capacity exchange. This again is very much targeted to our market practitioners, and they get the opportunity to exhibit, and we invite you, the MGAs, along to come along as delegates and really target immediately those core conversations that you like to have in terms of ensuring that you have good capacity opportunities. I see our capacity exchange as very specific and very deliberate on outcomes. You would approach a market practitioner. There's no appointments necessary. So you would approach a market practitioner. You would tell them about the products and services that you offer. And I see it very much as a very specific outcome for those conversations. It will be a fairly straightforward, not within our appetite, but thanks for stopping by. It will be a not for us right now, but let's stay in touch. Or it will be a we're very interested, let's have a coffee. So again, it gives you that real direct and specific opportunity to approach those capacity providers and have, again, a very specific and direct conversation. And whilst we all, a big part of what we do is small talk, it really allows you to get to the heart of what you're there for and what's important to your business. And then we have our MGA claims conference, an annual claims conference historically held in London. I do feel like sometimes our claims personnel within our MGAs do get maybe a little bit overlooked, but of course they're a key part of what we do and what we deliver as MGAs. It's really imperative to understand, what the trending aspects are in the industry at the moment in terms of claims management, what the service delivery levels should look like, where there's legislation that could impact claims activity, catastrophe events, any number of areas that will impact and inform your risk selection and your underwriting practices. So, the claims piece is really important to us to ensure that we're supporting your claims personnel. So our claims conference is, again, another key event within our calendar. To complement those key events, we also have a number of events, again, that afford you networking opportunities for all of the reasons that I've said before. So we've had some recent events within the Lloyd's Library. There's panel discussions that talk about topical and trending matters. But again, it gives you the opportunity to come along and not only to hear what the experts within our field are talking about, so whether they are capacity providers, whether there are other MGAs, whether there be large organisations or small concerns. And sometimes there will be discussions on from some of our supply members who are really subject matter experts in their field, whether it be digital platforms, whether it will be the obvious at the moment, AI, and how it impacts your practices and processes going forward. So we have a number of those. General market briefings. We have our annual, newly introduced last year, our autumn forum. And we also have other opportunities, again, to network, such as our, I think it's fair to say, renowned Bieber drinks now, always oversubscribed. I think whilst we don't overplay our Bieber drinks, it's incredibly well attended. It's an incredibly informal event. So there's no panel discussions, no formalities. It's just we invite you to come along, have a drink, have a discussion with whomever you may meet, whether it's new contacts or, as we all have, old friends within the insurance sector. So it's a really good fun event. And as I say, one I think we underplay, but certainly, as I say, it's a very, very well subscribed or oversubscribed and well attended event. Moving on to our knowledge and education piece. Now, this is about supporting your staff. So I know each of you will have your own learning and development activities in place to support your staff. So we are just complementary to that. But it's within our interest to place MGA staff, spotlight them to be held in the highest esteem. We want MGA staff and we support MGA staff being knowledgeable and expertise at what they do. And that isn't just underwriting, that's about marketing, it's about HR practices, it's about Sustainability, it's about equity and diversion and diversity and inclusion. It's about any number of areas, but we look to support your knowledge and education and your professional standards of your staff. To do that, we have a really robust programme of learning and insights. It covers a variety of market briefings on pretty much any topic you might choose. Again, to reiterate, whether it is progression in digital platforms, whether it's about catastrophic events, whether it's about underwriting practices, our programme of learning and insights supports a broad range of topics that your staff can tap into, whether it's joining as a live event like you've all done today, whether it's going to our watch on demand area of our website for members only, where you can tap into recordings of previously delivered events. You can find really a whole breadth of content in those areas that's delivered under the umbrella of our programme of learning and insights. And again, this is regarding the perception of your staff from the insurance industry, and the more knowledgeable your staff are, the more that other areas of the sector are going to want to do business with you, like brokers and like capacity providers. The other area we support in knowledge and education, particularly, is our Next Gen Committee and for your emerging talent. I think quite rightly there's been noise around, or more noise around, emerging talent within our industry as it is. Personally, I think we've still got a long way to go, and I'm not suggesting for a second that people pay lip service to supporting emerging talent, but I certainly think the more senior leaders within our business are making more noise around how we support the next generation of leaders. I think the step that we need to consider is how much those leaders are actually proactively doing to support the next generation. So again, we've got a whole programme of events and activities that's delivered by a next generation group that are, again, the committee is run by MGAs, by representatives from our supplier members and our capacity providers, to really get to the heart of what emerging talent need in order to progress their career and remain actually within the MGA sector. The third pillar that I just wanted to talk about today is regulatory and compliance. I think it's fair to say that, you know, regulatory and compliance, it's a piece that can be sometimes a cottage industry in its own right, and we don't ever anticipate that an MGA within our membership is joining us solely for our regulatory and compliance support. So what we do is very much complementary to your own regulatory and compliance resource, whether you use a third-party partner, whether you have a team of compliance experts, or whether you have a compliance officer. And actually there are some of our smaller members that kind of have a day job and then have to manage the compliance piece themselves. But either way, we look to support those compliance experts within your business or externally to make sure that you are belt and braces on everything that you need to be doing to be compliant. So to do that, we horizon scan. As you will all know, MGAs are regulated as an intermediary. So there is no really clearly defined way of differentiating between MGAs and brokers. What we look to do as your association is to really steer through that and try and highlight to you the areas that not only are important just generically to intermediaries, but that might have more importance to MGAs. I think also it's fair to say that over recent years, the FCA in particular has very much had an open ear to understanding the differences, both the big differences and the nuances between MGAs and brokers. And certainly they have looked to, I would say, revise some of their output with this in mind. I think that's true of product governance. But certainly we, again, as your association, look to really cut through those areas and try and highlight to you where there is something coming up on the horizon, on the future landscape, that you should be aware of and potentially already being proactive in. Because as we know, something that a regulator might deliver. And actually, by the same token, the Treasury or the PRA may well impact your policy wording. It may well impact your digital platforms. So it isn't just a case of being aware and just simply implementing the instruction to your staff, but it's also about giving you a good lead-in time to be able to prepare for any changes that the regulator, Treasury, PRA might actually start to implement. And of course, when I mention the PRA, if something is impacting insurers, all MGAs operate with capacity, there is a potential that that will fall down the line to MGAs and your own practices. So with the regulatory and compliance piece, we horizon scan, we issue a regulatory calendar to reflect that horizon scanning. We issue a compliance newsletter, again, to support and reflect what's coming up, what's trending in terms of what's going on in that space. We also have bi-monthly compliance insights meetings. And again, that gives us the opportunity to walk through, give you a greater understanding of those headlines. It gives you the opportunity to ask questions. We do have compliance partners both for the UK and Northern Ireland and for the Republic of Ireland. So if you've got any specific questions to your business that you want to have a slightly more bespoke answer to, you are welcome to submit those through to your contact, whomever that might be within the MGAA, for us to gather that support from our compliance partners. So that's always an open door that you can push on if you need, as I say, more bespoke support. In terms of the regulatory and compliance piece, we expect that predominantly that piece is of interest to your compliance partners, your compliance resource, or indeed senior and C-suite members of your business. But again, it lends itself to having those appropriate user accounts, those appropriate key contacts within your membership within your member dashboards, to make sure that our communications are reaching the right personnel. It's imperative. We see more and more, and we do understand this, we see more and more of kind of maybe unsubscribed or undelivered or unopened, I should say, where we'll get a lot of information coming through in our inbox day in, day out, by the hour. I would say this is a really good opportunity to review who's receiving our output into your business, to make sure that you're not missing out on opportunities to work with the MGAA, to progress anything that we're outputting that might be of benefit to your business. Just touching upon, conscious of time, just touching upon the brand exposure, and really to speak to the user accounts as well. Your membership profile is very, very important to us supporting your profile and your brand. So I'd urge you to make sure that your membership directory entry is up to date. You might be producing different product lines. You might have reduced your product lines. You might have different contacts. You might have a different message that you want to put out that would probably reflect what you've put on your own website, but do keep your membership directory profile updated, and we can help you with that. It is a self-service, you can do that yourself, but we can help you with that. We have a member services inbox. We have a lovely team member called Alison Hunt, who's our member services executive, and she's a guru of all knowledge about the membership directory and actually our broader membership benefits actually. So do write into our member services inbox if you need any support. But also bear in mind that what's reflected in your membership directory is also reflected when brokers access our broker gateway. So we have a product lookup that gets a really good footfall. So if you have a product that you want brokers to be aware of, I don't believe there's another product lookup for MGAs specifically, but feel free to correct me if you know otherwise. So it's important to get your products and services updated so that when a broker accesses our broker gateway and is looking up a product that you offer, you will return on their search. So again, very, very important to keep that updated. So I'm going to finish my presentation at this point. It has to be said that there are other benefits that I haven't covered today, no less important, but certainly what I'm happy to do is send out a member benefits brochure. If you wanted to request that directly from me, please drop me an email or drop our member services inbox an email. All our member benefits are set out on our website, so you can secure those from our website. But as I say, the whole team is open to any questions that you might have, any further details that you want on our broader member benefits. So at that point, I'd be delighted to take any questions. If you wanted to unmute yourself, you can drop any questions in our chat. You can, as I say, unmute yourself and ask a question directly. So I shall give you a moment or two to submit any questions. I think my colleague Manveen has just invited to use the chat. I hope, just while we're waiting for any questions, I hope that those of you that were looking to exhibit at our broker exchange that we are delivering on the 12th of March have secured your exhibitors table. The exhibitors opportunity is open till the 12th of March, but I'm fairly confident we only have about a half a dozen tables left. So if this was something that you were still considering, as I say, tables are complimentary to your membership, then I really would urge you to submit your registration as a matter of urgency. If you've decided not to exhibit, but you would still like to come along, then we would love to see you as a delegate. It would still give you opportunities to engage with our broker delegates. So we don't yet have any questions. So I think for the purposes of time, I'm going to finish the presentation there. Manveen has very kindly given a link to some feedback that we'd really welcome from you regarding this briefing. It'd really be interesting to know what you thought and whether this was of help. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us today. I really do appreciate your time, and I really hope that you continue to derive the maximum benefit from MGAA membership that we hope that you'll achieve. So thank you very much for joining, and wish you a good afternoon. Thank you very much.